Yo, what is up guys? So I've been trying to think of a video to do today. It's a Monday afternoon, not a whole lot going on, pretty plain and boring. So I figured what better day than to take my Emira and go get some Starbucks and kind of just talk about how the general ownership has been in terms of like the boring A to B driving, some problems I've had, and just kind of my overall experience with the car after getting through this break-in period. So before we get into the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos. And without further ado, let's get to it. We are on our drive to Starbucks. I think I'm just gonna start this video off with kind of just talking about like how the break-in period has been, any things that I've had problems with, and just kind of my general thoughts on the car. So the break-in period was actually pretty good. I didn't have any major issues in terms of like powertrain or transmission or engine or anything like that. Now, in terms of any issues whatsoever, a couple of things I've had issues with. It's really two things, I guess. The first thing is the gearbox. Now, the gearbox itself has actually been pretty good compared to my Evora GT in terms of like upshifting and stuff like that. But there's just one issue with the gearbox, and that is the reverse gear. It just doesn't go into gear. I don't know why. I constantly have to put it into gear, put it back, release the clutch, put the clutch back in. It's just a super annoying process. And I don't really know why the car can't go into reverse. It's probably something I'm gonna have to take to the dealer, but it could also just be something that's an issue with the way Lotus made the gearbox. So I'm not really sure what's gonna happen with that, but it's been annoying. It's not a huge deal. I would rather have a reverse gear not work than first gear, second gear, third gear. Now the second issue, and you actually probably heard it a couple of seconds ago, and that was my front sensor. Now, the front sensor on my Emira is faulty. For sure, 100% is faulty. And this is an issue that I had since delivery of the car, which surprised me because I don't know how the dealership didn't catch that the sensor was faulty, because almost every time I come to a complete stop with the car on, sensor goes off. And there's nothing in the way of the sensor. It's just, there's literally no reason behind it. It's just the sensor's faulty. So that's probably an easy fix. That's definitely going to get warranted from Lotus, but that is just the second thing that I've had problems with in the car. Now, the good thing is that there hasn't been any major problems, so nothing to really worry about in terms of engine, transmission, drivetrain, suspension. Anything related to those things have all been good. I've actually tracked my car a couple of times, so it's not like I've just been grandma driving around the town and city. I've actually tracked it a couple of times, so the good thing is the car's actually held up pretty well on the track. I haven't got an oil change yet. I saw a couple of people on Facebook in the Emira group saying that they changed the oil after like 1,000 miles. I don't know why. So if that's something that you guys think I should do, let me know, because I will change the oil. I have over 1,000 miles already, so I don't know, just something I've never really thought about. This video is really about the usability and the practicality and the day-to-day driving of the Emira, and how has that been, and how does it really compare to the Evora, which was the predecessor to this car. And what I can say is that it is a lot more comfortable and usable on a day-to-day basis than the Evora was. See, the thing about the Emira that I think really was a major upgrade was the interior. And the interior is kind of what makes or breaks a car on a daily basis. And everything in here is really nice. The seats are comfortable. They're more comfortable than the bucket seats that you got in the Evora GT. I don't think the Evora GT even had like electronic seats as an option. So the seats are definitely really nice. The infotainment, I like the way it looks. I like all the functions on it. I will just say that sometimes the screen can be a little laggy, which is annoying, but it still is a pretty good infotainment system. Huge upgrade over the Evora. It's got seat heating, which I haven't had to use yet because it's still hot here. The one thing that kind of annoys me about the drive modes is that, number one, you can't start your car in sport mode or race or track mode, you have to start in normal mode. And when you're switching through the buttons to actually change the drive modes, it tends to be like super slow, and like it just doesn't respond really fast. Like, I guess I'm just kind of used to like my 911, where if you want to put it in Sport Plus mode, you literally just turn the knob and it instantly puts you in Sport Plus. Whereas the Emira, you have to like toggle it and press it a couple times, and then it turns on the screen, and there's no just like button to just put it into whatever mode you want, and you can't save it to start up in sport mode. So it's kind of annoying, just a small little gripe. But you know, in terms of the comfortability, I have the sport suspension, and a lot of people that are, you know, thinking about getting the Emira, they always ask if the sport suspension is too stiff. What I'll say is this, is that this sport suspension is softer over the bumps and on the road than my Evora GT was. And this is softer than my 911 GTS. So if you're used to kind of more stiff cars, this is gonna feel more than comfortable enough on the street. But if you're coming from like a sedan or an SUV, then maybe the, you know, touring suspension is gonna be better for you, especially if you're not planning on tracking your car. Now, the only thing that you have to worry about with the Emira, and really all Lotuses, is that the electronics in the car often break. On my Evora GT, I had so many things break, but they were warranted on the car, which is a good thing, but they broke. And I couldn't imagine owning a Lotus out of warranty, because, for example, my Evora GT, like the window motor broke, the infotainment had to be replaced, the AC went out and that had to be replaced. There was just like a bunch of random stuff that if you didn't have it under warranty, like it would be super expensive to replace and constantly have to fix. So, you know, I think that the Emira is probably a little bit more reliable with the electronics. I've heard that they've taken some stuff from Volvo, because I guess Geely, which is like a Chinese company, owns Lotus now. So, you know, the infotainment, all the buttons and stuff are probably more reliable than they used to be. But still though, I've actually heard some like Facebook stories of people having issues with some of the electronics, which is normal for a Lotus, okay? Some people, they get into the Lotus brand and they're surprised that like things are breaking. That's just what Lotus has always done. But I do think honestly that the Emira is probably going to be a bit more reliable than the Evora in terms of like the electronics and all the stuff on the interior. And also another thing that I like about the Emira actually more than my 911 is that it actually has a lot of ground clearance on the front end. It doesn't look like it, because on the front end it looks pretty low, but there's actually a lot of ground clearance. And I have not scraped this car a single time. With my 911, I have unfortunately scraped the lip a couple times because the GTS sits pretty low. But I mean, even just going over like this little thing right here, like I have to slow down a little bit, but like it's not like I'm going like super slow just to get over a basic bump. In terms of daily driving, like little things like that really make the experience a lot better and just easier to drive. I hate having to like literally stop to 0 miles an hour just to get over a little bump. The people behind me are probably like, what is this idiot doing stopping in the middle of the road? With the Emira, I have not scraped it a single time. You could probably lower the car even more and not have to worry about ride height clearance. So I'm pulling into the Starbucks drive-thru right now. I actually don't even get coffee at Starbucks. I usually just get like matcha lattes or London Fogs. I'm not a huge coffee guy.
Started with anything to eat?
No. Can I just get a venti matcha latte hot, please?
Venti hot matcha? Anything
Yep.
else?
No, that's it.
All right, we'll see you at the window.
All right, thank you.
All right, your total's going to be $634.
Okay.
Do you need a stopper in your drink?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Thanks. So, I have got the matcha latte, or for most of you guys, it'd be the coffee. Now, one of the things that I hear in basically every manual car is that you can't shift with something in the cup holder. Now, the Lotus, luckily, has 2 cup holders. I'm actually going to move the Range Rover key. And I'm going to show you guys that it's not that big of a deal to shift with something in the cup holder. Now, would I go race and go super fast and bring my arm all the way back. No, but just day-to-day driving, A to B, not going too fast, just cruising. The cup doesn't get in the way. So you can literally just shift with 2 fingers like this, and it's not that difficult to, shift with something in the cup holder. So if you guys are wondering, can you shift in the cup holder? I know that's a huge complaint on the 911s, is that the cup holders are just super, they get in the way on the 911 if you have a manual. The Lotus, they give you 2, so no problem whatsoever. And this thing right here, it's literally like, see this little sensor on the front right there? It goes off like every single time I drive the car. So I do need to take it in. I'm still in like the honeymoon phase with the Emira, and I haven't really wanted to like give it up to the dealer, because we all know Lotus dealers take forever to do one thing. Overall, like the car, it's actually like really easy to drive. And one of the things I was kind of worried about, because it's a manual and it's a Lotus and it's mid-engine and it's basically kind of like a supercar, I was really worried about not being able to drive it on a daily basis, because manual cars can be kind of annoying to drive day to day, because it takes a hand out of your use, and you can't do all the same things that you can do in an automatic car that you can do, or that you do in a manual. And I was just kind of like worried that the Emira would be too stiff, the manual would get in the way, like driving like this to go get Starbucks, for example. And it actually really hasn't. And even compared to the Evora GT, and this really surprises me, that even compared to the Evora GT, this feels a lot easier to drive, a lot more comfortable. It's not as stiff. It's just like, it's really surprising how Lotus has actually made the car a lot more usable, even though it's basically the same car as the Evora GT. Now, there is one downside driving it A to B every day, and that is the way it looks. And I kind of talked about this in the F8 Tributo review that I did, but the annoying thing about driving a car that looks as crazy as this is that it gets a lot of attention. Now, attention can be fun, don't get me wrong, but when you just want to relax and you don't want a bunch of people looking at you, and you just want to get to where you're going in peace, sometimes that can't happen with the Emira, because it looks this crazy and I have it in a bright yellow and it's screaming, "Look at me." And most of the time that's fun, but there's times where I don't want that. And you can't hide the Emira. It doesn't matter where you take it, what you do, you're always going to get a bunch of people looking at the car. You're always going to get a bunch of people kind of being nosy about it, which is totally understandable. If I saw an Emira on the road, I'm going to start looking at it. I'm going to probably talk to the owner and ask him questions. But that's just kind of the responsibility, and that's just part of having a car like this. So if you're looking for something that isn't going to bring attention when you take it out to do normal things, that's not what the Emira is for. Now, another question that I see come up pretty often on the Emira is, does it have any drone, and is the exhaust too loud? Because after all, the engine is literally right behind you, and this is a loud car, especially if you have a downpipe or an exhaust on it. And I've been driving in track mode. I've actually been driving track mode the entire time, and it's actually not that loud on the inside. I do think the Evora GT was a little bit louder on the interior of the car. In the Evora, it was definitely like, if you were in race mode on the Evora GT on the highway, like you could hear it, there was a little bit of drone even stock. This car, even in track mode, if you're at a low RPM, there's not a lot of drone. Now, if you bring it up to 4 or 5+ thousand RPM, then yeah, there is drone, there is sound. They're supposed to be. But if you're driving like normal mode, it's totally comfortable. It's not too loud. You can take a phone call. You can talk to your passenger. So I think that kind of wraps it up in terms of my Starbucks run in the Emira. I'm going to give you guys an obligatory poll just so you can hear it. I'm going to roll down the windows a little bit. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. And if you guys want to see more of these types of videos, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.